Hi, this is Sarah. In this lecture, we will discuss the definition, classification, and pathophysiology of cataract. The learning goals of the present course are to understand what the cataract is, to describe the different types of cataract, and to analyze the cataract pathophysiology. Cataract is the dominant entity in the pathology of the crystalline lens. The crystalline lens is a transparent, avascular, biconvex structure of the eye, supported by the zonule of Zinn. Together with the cornea, they form the refractive system of the eye, through which light rays pass and undergo the appropriate convergence to focus on the retina. Cataract refers to any clouding of the crystalline lens that affects its homeostasis. This clouding can be small and localized or cover the entire lens. No classification of cataracts is completely satisfactory. The classification can be based on the cause, the age of onset, the severity of the clouding, or the type and location of the clouding in the lens fibers. The most prevalent classification is based on the age of onset and is divided into acquired and congenital or hereditary cataract. A cataract that appears after birth is acquired and may be associated with aging, known as senile cataract, which is the most commonly encountered form, or may be secondary and associated with eye diseases, systemic diseases, metabolic disorders, use of medicines, toxic causes, or trauma. In contrast, a cataract being present at birth is congenital or hereditary. Other ways for cataract classification are the following. First, according to the age of onset, cataract can be classified into congenital, neonatal, pediatric, presenile, and senile. According to the location of clouding, cataract can also be classified into nuclear, cortical, capsular, and subcapsular. Moreover, depending on the degree of lens clouding, cataract is classified into the following categories: immature, when clear lens fibers are present, edematous, when the crystalline lens is swollen, mature, when there is a clouding of the entire lens, and hypermature, when lens fibers are liquefied, the so-called Morganian cataract. In addition, cataract can be classified according to the rate of cataract development as either stationary or progressive. Finally, based on its biomicroscopic appearance, cataract can be classified as zonular, stellate, punctate, or Christmas tree. In the next slides, we will analyze all subgroups and categories of acquired cataract. Senile cataract is the most common type of cataract. The clouding of the lens is related to the biochemical and morphological changes that occur in the lens over time. It appears in individuals over the age of 65 and is characterized by a gradual decrease in vision without pain. Depending on the location of the initial clouding, cataracts can be classified as cortical, nuclear, or subcapsular. Starting with cortical cataract, this is the most common type, where the clouding is located in the cortex, anterior or posterior, and the lens fibers either become cloudy or hydrated. Vision loss occurs when the clouding progresses to affect the central area. During the progression of a cortical cataract, there may be excessive hydration of the cortical masses, leading to an increase in lens thickness, edematous cataract. The gradual spread of the clouding leads to the formation of a mature cataract. As the cataractogenesis progresses, the lens fibers dissolve and the lens becomes more clouded, taking on a milky appearance, hypermature cataract. In some cases of hypermature cataract, the liquefaction of the cortex is so pronounced that the nucleus shifts to the lower part of the lens, Morganian cataract. Nuclear cataract is characterized by excessive hardening of the lens nucleus, also known as a hard cataract. It progresses slowly, increases the refractive index, and can turn the eye myopic. The onset of myopia can counteract presbyopia, allowing near vision without glasses, known as second sight. Under a slit lamp, the lens nucleus has a yellowish-brown hue. Posterior subcapsular cataract develops progressively and causes a significant reduction in visual acuity, disproportionate to the size and density of the clouding. A second category of cataract is secondary cataract. This type of cataract may be caused by eye diseases, systemic diseases, metabolic disorders, medication use, or toxic causes. Eye diseases that can cause secondary cataract fall into the four following categories of pathological conditions: inflammatory conditions of the eye, primarily chronic iridocyclitis associated with juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, degenerative conditions, such as retinitis pigmentosa, high degenerative myopia, and primary atrophy of the iris, the severe blood circulation disorders in the anterior segment of the eye, and the crisis of primary acute glaucoma. In metabolic disorders, cataract occurs in type 1 diabetes mellitus. In poorly controlled diabetes, the opacities are bilateral, starting from the cortex in the form of small spots resembling snowflakes. On the contrary, in galactosemia, which is a hereditary disorder that causes an inability to convert galactose into glucose, cataract develops early in the neonatal period and can potentially regress after correcting the metabolic disorder. Additionally, in hypocalcemia, which is one of the main causes of tetany, in idiopathic and postoperative hyperparathyroidism, whitish opacities appear in the cortex of the lens. Finally, in Wilson's disease, also called hepatophacoid degeneration, with the characteristic ophthalmological manifestation of the Kaiser-Fleischer ring, there is copper deposition in the lens and descemet membrane. Secondary cataract caused by medications primarily involves corticosteroids, administered both systemically and topically in high doses and for a long time, resulting in corticosteroid-induced cataract. Another category of drugs that can cause secondary cataract is miotic eye drops for the treatment of chronic glaucoma, such as pilocarpine, which after long-term use can cause lens opacification. Certain psychotropic drugs, such as chlorpromazine, or cardiac medications, such as amiodarone, copper from eye drops containing copper sulfide, and injectable gold, can also cause lens clouding. When harmful physical factors affect the crystalline lens for a variable period, a traumatic cataract may develop. It can result from a blunt eye injury, leading to permanent lens opacification, which may also be accompanied by lens subluxation or displacement. The initial clouding may remain stable for many years or progress slowly. On the other hand, in cases of penetrating eye injuries, cataract can be formed without a rupture of the lens capsule, although it always occurs when the capsule is ruptured. If lens material enters the anterior chamber, it may trigger a reaction in the anterior chamber and increase intraocular pressure. Additionally, neglected intraocular foreign bodies, such as iron and copper, often cause lens opacification and damage to other intraocular tissues, siderosis, calcosis. Let's analyze the cataract caused by natural causes. In this cataract category, electric, thermal, and ionizing radiation-induced cataracts are included. First, electric cataract is possible after an electrocution, lightning strike, or rarely during electroshock treatment. The star-shaped appearance of this cataract is due to the coagulation of lens proteins by the passage of electric current. Second, thermal cataract is caused by exposure to high temperatures in a person's working environment, resulting in lens opacification. Known as glassblower's cataract, today it is now less common due to the use of protective glasses. Finally, ionizing radiation-induced cataract is included in the acquired cataract classification. The effect of approximately 400 rads of radiation on the lens, such as X-rays, beta rays, gamma rays, and neutrons, is sufficient to cause a cataract. Another type of cataract is congenital cataract, which is present at birth or during the first trimester of a person's life. It can be unilateral or bilateral. The opacification can occupy the entire lens or be located in a part of it. Based on the form and the location of the opacifications, congenital cataract can be named zonular, anterior, posterior, or polar cataract. It should be noted that approximately 0.4% of newborns have some form of lens opacification. In around 35% of patients with congenital cataract, there is also another eye condition. It is crucial to note that congenital cataract is one of the main causes of leukocoria in the first months or years of a person's life. As it is already known, several causes can lead to congenital cataract. One group of them is fetal viral infections. Such viruses are rubella virus when the mother is infected during the first trimester of pregnancy, herpes simplex virus, varicella zoster virus leading to herpes zoster, and cytomegalovirus. Additionally, other viral infections are mumps, caused by paramyxovirus, a member of the rubeolavirus family, and poliomyelitis. Other infections that can cause cataract in the fetus are syphilis and toxoplasmosis. Another cause of congenital cataract is medication use by the mother during the first trimester of pregnancy. Systemically administered corticosteroids cause cataract in the fetus. Other drugs that can cause cataract are phenothiazines, some antimetabolites, and some antibiotics, such as sulfonamides. X-ray radiation during the first trimester of pregnancy, mainly in the pelvic area, is another potential cause of congenital cataract. Moreover, maternal metabolic and nutritional disorders during pregnancy such as diabetes and malnutrition, as well as metabolic disorders of the newborn in cases of idiopathic neonatal tetany and galactosemia are some other causes of congenital cataract. Additionally, congenital cataract may be accompanied by ocular malformations during development, among them microphthalmia, aniridia, lens ectopia, and lens coloboma. Moreover, congenital cataract may coexist with genetic syndromes and chromosomal disorders, such as Crouzon and Down syndrome, respectively, which occur in 15% of cases. To understand the aforementioned pathologies, the pathophysiology of cataract must first be adequately understood. To start with, the normal crystalline lens contains about 65% water, 35% protein, and trace amounts of minerals, also common in other body tissues. Specifically, lens proteins include alpha, beta, and gamma crystallins. The insoluble proportion of these proteins increases with age and their concentration increases from the cortex to the nucleus. Lens proteins are organ-specific but not species-specific. It should be mentioned that glucose metabolism is mainly carried out by anaerobic pathways. In the normal lens, the bands or bundles of continuity between the fibers are most apparent around the age of 45. Indeed, the lens fibers in each zone are continuously pushed toward the center by the formation of new fibers at the periphery, thus forming the nucleus. So, the nucleus is defined as the portion of the lens that is present at birth. In early life, the nucleus is more flexible than the cortex, but it becomes harder than the cortex with age. Now, let's classify cataracts according to the morphology of lens fibers. First, the cataract where all lens fibers are opaque is called mature. The degree of visual opacification depends on the location of the opacification within the lens, which is combined with the entrance of water into the lens due to osmosis and exudation. When some lens fibers are transparent, the cataract is called immature. If the cortical fibers of a mature cataract liquefy and leak through the intact periphery, causing the crystalline lens to contract, then the cataract is called hypermature. Finally, swelling of the lens fibers results in edematous cataract. The maturing lens, even in young people, can swell to a degree that causes anterior chamber shallowing, pupillary block, and angle closure glaucoma. This condition is known as phacomorphic glaucoma. Another type of lens-induced glaucoma is phacolytic glaucoma, which can result from leakage of lens proteins into the anterior chamber. One of the cataract symptoms is monocular diplopia, which results from changes in the refractive index within the lens. Apart from that, the color perception of cataract patients is also affected. In a normal eye, aging typically causes a gradual shift toward hyperopia, but in lenses developing nuclear cataract, there is a shift toward myopia. This myopic shift often precedes the recognition of nuclear cataract. Nuclear cataract is common after the age of 65, causing the average refraction in the aging population to shift toward hyperopia, reaching a peak around age 65, followed by a myopic shift, bringing the average refraction back to emetropia around age 80. In conclusion, the cataract classification can be based on the cause, the age of onset, the severity of the clouding, or the type and location of the clouding in the lens fibers. Indeed, to understand the different cataract classifications, the pathophysiology of cataract must first be adequately understood. On this slide, you can find a few references for further reading. Thank you for your attention. I hope you enjoyed this presentation on definition, classification, and pathophysiology of cataract, and please don't forget to run the self-evaluation tests of the lecture.